Welcome, everyone, to another great partner spotlight. Today is going to be a very exciting one. Thank you for that round of applause. Today is going to be a really exciting one because we have a very special guest today from Royal Caribbean. She is the strategic account manager, Robin Washington. Robin, good to see you.
I love being here. Love being here.
And we love you being here. So there's going to be some sound effects, so keep that in mind,
I love
Robin. But we're excited to talk today about Royal Caribbean and everything with 2025 going into 2026, unique destinations, unique amenities and experiences that you can get on board. And we're going to talk a little bit about people who haven't cruised before.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part too. So I think it's important that everybody watching, this is going to be fun. This is live. We're going to have a lot of fun here, and we're going to talk about a lot of different topics. So first thing, Robin.
Yes.
Who is Royal Caribbean? So we know Royal Caribbean is one of the biggest cruise companies in the world, standing on top. But who are they?
I would say that we really are built on not just here's fabulous ships, but we really are all about creating memories, bringing people together, getting them to see things and explore that they haven't done before, and also enjoying amazing ships, big surprises around every corner, great entertainment. So I just think we try to bring all of that together, laced in with great service, and just where we're, really creating an experience that people will want to do over and over again and have great memories from.
I mean, Royal has been on the top of the cruise game for decades now.
Yes.
But what I love most about them is that the innovation year after year is always there.
Yes.
Whether that be, Robin told me this one time, I said something about the new Icon ship that was coming out. I said, Robin, Royal has the biggest ship on the ocean. And Robin said to me, Royal will always have the biggest ship on the ocean. And so I love that Royal is always pushing the envelope, always making sure that they are innovating and doing something different. Oh, we got some people in the chat. Travel Pro Group says, hi, Robin.
Hello.
Fantastic. Travel Zone, hi, Robin. All right, a lot of hi Robins. Love it.
Well,
Fantastic.
hey, everybody. I love working with you guys, so.
We appreciate it. And so the innovation with Royal Caribbean is super important to you guys, because I think it's making sure that you are different than the rest, right?
Yes. I think what we think about is not how do we create an experience that's just cruise based.
Right.
We want to create a vacation experience that rivals anything, whether it's on land or other opportunities that may be out there for cruising or for vacationing.
That's
and we're
very
thinking
true.
15 years in advance. A ship doesn't get it built just by thinking of it overnight. So we have a whole innovation lab, and that's all they do is think about what can we do to push the envelope.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, there's so many options for people out there to go on vacation. Yeah. And now you think, well, if I'm going on vacation, where am I going to go? Number one, do I want to go to Europe? Do I want to go to the Caribbean? Something like that. And how am I going to experience different restaurants, different foods, different entertainment? Do I have to pay for all these things? Now with Royal, you can get that all in one go.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's an experience where if you want to get on our ships and never spend another dime, you're still going to be very well fed, very well entertained. You'll have a great place to sleep and fun places to hang out with at night or at the pool areas. If you want to elevate that experience all through your journey, we also have all those opportunities too.
I love that. And you can do that in the Caribbean. You could do that in Europe. I mean, you could do that all over the world with Royal Caribbean.
Yes.
So the people out there that are thinking, well, where's my next family vacation? Where's my next vacation? You can think, well, I could do all these things, all these different exciting food opportunities, these different entertainment opportunities on Royal Caribbean, anywhere in the world.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
They're great for groups, right?
Yes, very good for groups. And think about groups from a couple of different angles. One, your traditional family group that gets together for a family reunion, or maybe it's a group of girlfriends, but also companies come on board. They bring their sales teams for training or for some continuing education type training opportunities. We use facilities throughout our ship that normally the public wouldn't know, that we're also hosting groups there. We host churches in our theater. We may host a business meeting in one of our clubs. We may use our conference centers for training sessions, but a lot of different opportunities for groups to get together. And you don't have to plan for the food. We have that covered.
Oh, that's true.
You don't have to plan for extra entertainment. We have that covered, or other activities for them to participate in.
The food and beverage costs can be huge
Yes.
at a hotel, so
Yes.
that is a really good
Yeah.
point. And for those of you out there in WorldVia network world, Royal Caribbean will be at our cruise, our Growing with Groups cruise immersion in July.
Yes.
So that's really nice to see. So if you want more information on that, you can go to Pro and you can type in 2025 immersions. You'll get all the information on that. So if you want to learn about groups from Royal, from Robin at Royal, you can come to that event.
Absolutely.
Robin,
Absolutely. Yes.
now, you and I talked about this before,
Okay.
but I want to hit on this because this is a really fun and interesting topic. How many people in the U.S. have not cruised? What that percentage is like? Because Evan and I got a statistic for you before the show. According to AAA, there has been a 4.5% increase in ocean cruising from 24 to 25.
Yes.
So that's pretty good. But you and I talked about there's still a large group of people that have not
There
cruised.
are a lot of people who have not cruised, and it's one of those great opportunities to step outside of the box of what some people think is cruising. I think when people really dig in and they realize, number one, you're not on a boat that's doing this, you're on a ship with a lot of technology that is giving you a very stable experience, which is nice. I always say we couldn't have ice skating shows if we were doing this.
That's very true. That's very true.
We actually are doing the ice skating shows. But also a great way to bring a family together or a group of people together. And on the side, you're not stuck with them the whole time either.
That's
You know,
right.
everyone can get out and do all their different activities and get back together for meals or for special shows. So it's an opportunity, I think, that the public is really starting to understand.
Yes.
It's a great value.
Is that why you think it's growing? Is that why you think that we have that 4.5% increase in people sailing? Is because they see it as a great opportunity for their families just to get away?
I think that, and also I think for us specifically, it's also all of those extras, all of the entertainment,
Yes.
all of the dining that is not just, hey, I'm going to do this. It's, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this show, or I can't wait to go visit this restaurant. As if you were in a city or anywhere else.
That's true. Let's get some comments. Again, Travel Zone, Robin has been a wonderful asset to Royal Caribbean. She's a cheerleader and a problem solver. She definitely is a problem solver. That is for sure. She solved a lot of my problems. What else we got?
There wouldn't be problems to solve if WorldVia wasn't doing a great job as a partner with us.
We appreciate that. Joshua Harrell says, yeah, I love Royal Caribbean's vacation experiences. We do too. We do too. Any other comments? Okay. So now another thing that people, I think growing with people in the U.S., especially who are cruising now, is being able to take their kids with them.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I know Royal really is on top of that with kids, and we're going to get into some pictures later when we talk about the experiences on the ship. But how does what does Royal think about that? Because there are some cruise ships that are 18 and up.
Yes.
So what is Royal's thought on that?
What we really try to do is be there for however you want to travel.
Yeah.
So if it's a multi-generational family and you have from the grandparents or great-grandparents, all the way down to the 6-month-old.
Yeah.
We have activities and opportunities for every single one of those levels. If it is a family that has, younger kids, trust me, we will entertain the adults on their own sometimes, because we know right now they probably need a little break. And also the kids will just have an amazing time.
Yeah.
But also, I think when you think families, teenagers, I think teenagers are the most vocal of all of the family groups. Yes.
I went on, a side note, I went on my first cruise at 18 on the Navigator of the Seas. Was my first ever cruise. And so that was 20 years ago. And so, it's tough when you're a teen and there's adult things, and then there's kids things, but there's not a lot for you to do as a teen.
Yeah, we actually focus heavily on teens.
Interesting.
And knowing that their voice sometimes is the loudest, as well as when they don't have a voice that's almost just as painful, because then they give you the silent treatment. So what we've tried to do is also have an amazing teen center, but we know that they're only really there the first day. They meet up with everyone, and then they're hanging out at different areas.
Yeah.
But all of the adult activities that we have, we also replicate those with the teens. So they have their own hush party with the headphones, and they have private karaoke and private time on the flow rider and a lot of other events that keeps them busy.
That's great. And I think all these things are combining into growing that cruising business in the U.S. and more people getting out there and cruising. There's ports everywhere that they can get to. So there's a lot of places where they can get on the ships and just the opportunities on board are just so great, and the experiences and the value that you get for being on board is so great.
And the security part of it too.
That's really true.
You don't have teens wandering around necessarily at night in strange places. Instead, they're wandering around with a lot of cameras also.
That's true.
Around the ships.
So we're here in April of 2025.
Yeah.
Now, what does 2025 look like for sailing with Royal Caribbean?
We still have a lot of great opportunities out there, and it's this time of the year that you really want to start wrapping up 2025, meaning that if it's going to be a summer vacation, whether it's to Europe, there is still some inventory for Alaska. If you're having trouble finding any of that, feel free to reach out to us. But also start planning now if you want to do the holidays with us.
Oh, that's good.
The holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving on a ship with Royal is an unbelievable, magical experience.
That's nice.
All of the decorations, all of the fun family activities that we do. But there's still a lot of opportunity that's in there. Even Alaska, although it's coming up and it's actually that season starting really soon, there is still some opportunities to head to Alaska this summer.
I think we had a good comment, Evan. I wanted to bring that up. Kim says, I'm a fairly new travel advisor. What is the best piece of advice you can give me to sell Royal Caribbean sailings? And that's kind of what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Okay, here's what I always tell brand new folks. This is a business for them.
Yeah.
And if they were to not be a travel advisor, they probably still could book a cruise on Royal Caribbean.
Okay.
So with all the resources that they have access to, all the special offers that the public doesn't see,
that's right.
They just have to get their name out there. Don't hesitate. We're here to support them. We have a whole team of 20,000 employees that are not on our ships that are here to support them. And just dive in. But every single day, figure out how do you get out of the administrative world.
Yep.
How do you get out of the learning all the back ends and sometimes just sell? And again, you could book it before, and now that you're an agent, all of a sudden you might be hesitant. So dive in there.
You gave me a little fun piece of advice the other day where you said when you're working, you can get so bogged down in your work that put something on your desk, right? As a little incentive.
Yeah, so what I recommended is oftentimes we get tied up in the things that are not sales focused. It's very easy to get into the things that we know that we can solve versus the unknown of actually selling. So I always say put like 5, whether it's Hershey Kisses or something else that you like, and if you don't want it to be a snack, put 5 paper clips. And before you can finish your day, you've had every time you created a sales opportunity, not responded to one, but actually proactively created one, move that to the other side. Move the next one to the other side. And once you have moved them all, so you don't eat the chocolate until all 5 are over there, but then you have a reward for yourself.
Yes.
But also you're learning to get the habit of being in sales and proactively selling, not just being reactive.
I love that. Thank you. Round of applause. So we talked about some great destinations for the rest of the year. You have Alaska that's coming close, and then you have the Caribbean for the holidays would be fantastic. What has been a big surprise for you that you've seen in 2025?
I think the pacing of Europe has been huge. And I think, so overall, we go to about 300 plus destinations, ports throughout the world. Europe, we go to over 100, just shy, I think we're getting to about 105 destinations, ports there. But I think a lot of that's driven by people seeing other people visiting places. Yeah. People looking for very shareable, unique moments that they can then, share their life with on their social media. Movies, seeing scenes from a movie. Oh my gosh, Mamma Mia has done a whole lot.
I think we have a picture of Greece.
Good guess. Yeah. But there's a lot, yes, of people that want to do the Med. And it really does look like this, by the way.
Yes.
This is not just, a great postcard, but to be able to experience, whether you're looking for Europe from historical perspective or from the fun city life that a lot of places offer, having those opportunities out there.
And I think that that's an easy way for people maybe who have never been to Europe to experience it, right?
Yeah. And even adding before or after, so choose the port that you leave from. We depart from several different ports in Europe and throughout the world. But if you want to spend a little extra time in Barcelona, mom of a Barcelona soccer fan, who makes sure that we're going to be in Barcelona in time for a match and then get on a ship, or when you're getting back, that you're adding an extra couple of days, 2-3 days, to be able to explore that specific city too even deeper.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because some people, this may be their only vacation of the year out there, so they really need to experience everything that they can when they're in that port.
Yes.
So take that advice. If you want to do a little bit before or a little bit after, you can tie that in with your Royal Caribbean vacation.
Absolutely.
Because that talks about some unique destinations and unique sailings. So I know we had some pictures of Norway, for example.
Yes.
So what about the Northern Lights?
So, and I think that's a timing.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that you are timing your trip, and you can also do that with our Alaska cruises too, for that time frame, that you'd be able to hopefully take advantage of seeing the Northern Lights.
But I like that there's the ability to do that, and the ability to be able to experience these different things, these different places. Do we have any more comments, Evan?
And I love, though, that the sky is super clear, tied to anything with the Northern Lights.
Joshua says, it absolutely looks like that. I've never seen such a bright blue than in Greece.
Yes.
I mean, look at that picture. That is incredible.
And the water and, the blue that they use to match the water. It's beautiful. Incredible.
So there's unique destinations. There's unique sailings you can go on. You can experience a multitude of things in Alaska, the glaciers in Alaska, being able to experience, which, we had the opportunity to talk with an Alaska specialist from Royal Caribbean, Brendan Halcomb, and so he really laid into everything that is going on with Alaska and how special it still is, and how special the environment is, and how Royal really captures that, and you're able to see it as a client.
Yeah, and also introduce people to wildlife.
Yes.
Oftentimes we live in areas where the most wildlife you're going to see is maybe a bird in a tree or go to the zoo. But it's really expanding your view and seeing, here's wildlife right near you, and
do you think
the beauty of the mountains.
Do you think Alaska will always be one of the most unique destinations to cruise to?
I think so, because it's one of those places, there's so many man-made experiences that we have in life, that to see the natural beauty of the mountains and to be right there. I don't think National Geographic or any picture that we have can fully explain when you are next to a glacier that is like Brendan talked about the Hubbard Glacier.
Yes.
Just 7 miles, 15 stories tall. These are massive, natural structures that it's unbelievable to see.
And then imagine being able to see a pot of whales or something like that next to that. I mean, that's, and we talk about Alaska, and we talked about Alaska, but it really is one of those destinations that is I think once you get to go there, you never forget being there.
Yeah, and you get a great appreciation, and also with all of the natural things there, a lot of the historic sites and museums that they have.
Oh, yes.
To understand the culture.
Yes.
To understand, I was very touched by, in one of the museums, I think we were in Sitka, and it had, this is what a family would have to do to prepare for winter.
Yeah.
And how intricate the canoes were made and the clothing was made and what the role of the kids were. I wish my kids would be thinking about making clothing and canoes, and we would definitely be underwater if it was up to them to make it. But to understand that culture too, and this is a part of the U.S., is just, it's amazing.
That is incredible. We have some comments on Northern Lights. Travel Zone, I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and the Northern Lights are definitely a treat to see. My clients love Royal Caribbean's destination options because they are family-oriented. Robin was just talking, you were just talking about the family aspect of Alaska and seeing that. But even in Europe, you can have that. Joshua, Northern Lights are a once in a lifetime experience. So it just goes to show any kind of thought you have in your head on, I want to see this, I want to experience this, I want to go this, Royal Caribbean can get you there and get you there in style and have a lot of fun because...
You know, my personal
that
I'm looking forward to, I'm an eclipse girl. I've
chased
eclipse around the world.
That was huge last year. Okay.
Next summer, we have a sailing that is wrapped around when the eclipse will be over Spain.
Okay.
And so just imagine the open air without any pollution. You're out at sea. And I'm hoping to be on that sailing. So
that will be fantastic, and I want to see videos and pictures of that.
Absolutely.
Anything you can get. It's those experiences, and you have it all encompassed on one ship. You don't have to leave. You don't have to think about how am I going to drive to this place to see this thing or eat here. I think that people don't realize that you can get all these amazing experiences and unique experiences on board a ship. And on board Royal is going to bring a bunch of different ones.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about some of the unique dining and other experiences that are on board the ships because, look, let's face it. So you get on board and you're like, okay, now what?
Yes.
Now what do I do? And dining is that first thing that, you know, on all the ships I've ever been on, you kind of jump in and you're like, well, what am I going to eat now?
Right.
So let's talk about some of the dining things that Royal has. Let's talk about some of the different experiences that Royal has.
So we actually have a lot of complimentary dining options. Most people will spend time in our main dining room, which is on most of our ships a 3-tier experience. White linen service, just
beautiful,
great menus and theme nights. But we've also, again, as I mentioned early on about, we want to also stretch those experiences. So we do have specialty dining options, but we also just launched 2 new specialty dining options tied with our Icon class, which Icon
we might have a picture of.
Come out in January. Yes, I think we do. And then we'll also have Star coming out. But the Empire Supper Club, it's like a throwback to the old New York.
Yes.
And where the
look at that.
cuisine
look
was
at that
actually
chandelier.
like the experience. I know. You have a 3-piece band who is singing along with this 8-course dining experience.
8 courses.
8 courses.
I don't even know what 8
surprises.
courses.
I know. Surprises of how the music and beverages are paired.
Wow.
And it's a night where I tell everyone, dress up, go along with it, and hang out there. So that is a New York theme. And then Star is coming out.
Yep.
And Star is going to have Lincoln Park, which is going to be a
Chicago's.
throwback to the 30s in Chicago and that dining scene. So the same sort of environment, but those supper clubs.
I love that you encourage people to dress up
Yes.
because, it's almost like that's kind of gone away from cruising. In the old days, it was you had to dress up. And then it was, no, you don't have to dress up.
Yeah.
And Robin is now telling you, no, maybe you should for one of these specialties.
Do the supper clubs. Go all in because it's dining and entertainment experience.
I like that, and I think that it shows how Royal Caribbean is really trying to do something a little bit different. I know that there is one ship that has a train car on it.
Yes.
Which one's that?
Utopia the
Utopia.
Seas. Yes, it has our Royal Railway, and it is so realistic.
Yes.
That we actually have a disclaimer about motion sickness. Now, the train's not moving, but because of all the technology that we have, you really think that you are moving in those train cars, and it's actual train cars. But the dining experience, again, is not just eating. You have the scenery that you're going through, and that'll get changed out. So right now, it's a Western sort of scenery. It's going to change out to other experiences. But we have actors, and maybe there's a robbery that goes on.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Maybe there's some people trying to catch the robbers. But just a whole fun dining entertainment
But that just ties back into the talk about family entertainment. You don't have to go all these different places to get these different family entertainment. You could bring your whole family and enjoy one evening in that and then the parents can go to the supper clubs. So there's options here for people, which I think is fantastic. What are some of the other experiences on board? Because so you get on board and you want to eat. I mean, That's
and
not
we'll
even
fill you up every corner that you turn around.
That's what I'm saying, and that's not even speaking of the things that are out on deck.
Yes.
And you can hot dogs, all those types of things, all the little good snacks that you want by the pool, right? And then
pizza.
lots of pizza. So you have dining, so you get in and you can get everything you want there. But what about entertainment? I mean, like, we have to be entertained at night, right?
Yes. Our entertainment, we have taken above, as I mentioned before. We're not trying to just be great cruise entertainment. We really want to be entertainment that will compete with anything across the world. So with our entertainment, we actually do have Tony Award winning Broadway shows
Yes,
on board.
I think we have a picture of that one
Yeah,
too.
we have my absolute favorite one is Hairspray.
Look at that.
But we have, we've got Saturday Night Fever and We Will Rock You, Mamma Mia, Cats, Hairspray. Wizard of Oz just launched on Icon of the Seas.
Ooh, okay.
And we're super excited. Star of the Seas will come out in August. And Back to the Future closing on Broadway and coming straight to the Star.
So they are so these are Broadway productions.
These are Broadway productions. These are not your high school or community college style productions. They're Broadway, which works really well on our ships because of the technology that we have and the just amazing costuming that we work with. So
I think we had a picture of the 270 Club.
Oh yes. So
I want to
on
show
our
that too.
Quantum class ships, this is another feat of technology. This is 270 by day, and 270 by day is literally 270 degrees of windows, beautiful views. So wherever these ships are sailing, wherever we're sailing, you've got amazing views. But remember this, but at night, all of those super tall 2-story of glass is now taken over by technology.
Oh, those are screens.
And yes.
Oh my gosh.
So there's movable screens that you see in the middle with the red, but then also there's great technology that's going on the windows. But even just within the shows there, it is a transformation that I think I wasn't prepared for the first time I saw it. And then the variety of shows. This is on our quantum class ships and ultra quantum class ships. And again, you're having coffee in the morning, then all of a sudden at night, you would never recognize the place.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things. So I want to get into, when we talk about accommodations, I do want to talk about that. I want to talk about, if we have a moment, because you mentioned the quantum class ships, and we have the Icon class. So let's talk about the classes of ships, if we have a moment to talk about that.
Yeah, so we actually have 7 classes of ships.
Wow, okay.
And so what I love about that is you go from a smaller ship all the way up to Icon and Star and our Icon class ships. So there's a little bit of something for everyone. Also, having the different classes of ships allows us to get into ports that are smaller with some of our smaller ships in our fleet instead of trying to somehow park Icon into a smaller port, which is nice. So it's one of those where this is where I really think the value of a great travel partner happens. And that is not every ship and not every itinerary is designed the same for what people are looking for. Some people just want to go on Icon and it would never have to move because they just want to experience everything on board. Other people want to get into all of the unique islands that we go to, or to some of the areas in Europe and New Zealand or Australia, and that's going to require a different class of ship to be able to do that.
Well, I think that is great for everybody out there that has never cruised before. We were talking earlier. They may think that all ships are the same and they're all the same size and they all offer the same things, but they really don't.
They don't. Yeah, they're very unique, each of those classes.
And so you can say, well, I want to experience the Icon class. I want to experience the biggest that I can get. And then maybe next year you say, well, let's just go on a little bit of a smaller one and try something different. So I think out there, everybody that is watching this, learn the classes of ships. Learn what the offer, learn what's out there, because you can really tailor a vacation to a different ship and a location.
Yeah, and I think it's either some people are destination first, so if they are looking to do a dream sort of destination, and it is the Northern Lights or Santorini or Mykonos or heading to New Zealand, then the ship will be appropriate, for whatever destination they're trying to go to. If they are more about, I want to see a Broadway production, and I also want to see an aqua theater show, and I want to have all of those great experiences, then it will lead to a different ship class for them.
Velma is in the chat. She says, all of your ships are a destination. The ports are just a bonus.
I love Velma. And that's true.
Okay, I want to bring something up. Let's talk about the private islands.
Yes.
Because people who are new to cruising, they may think you just go to these different ports and it's a city that you walk around in. Let's talk about the private island aspect of cruising.
Yes. So, and that's also one of my fun facts. So I mentioned earlier we go to over 300 different ports. Our absolute most requested port is actually Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is one of our private islands.
Yes.
And again, I think what we try to do with our private islands is that we want to make sure that we are replicating the experience that you can get on board. We want to replicate that service. We want to replicate being able to have great experiences that are unique, safe, but also push your boundaries a little bit. So Perfect Day, which is in the Bahamas, it actually has areas of beaches. If you just want to have a day where you just want to chill, cut out all the noise and hang out, read a book, or put your earpods in, you can do that. If you want thrill, we have Thrill Water Park. That has, a whole tower of water slides.
Yes, it does.
An amazing wave pool, which I absolutely love the wave pool. If you want a more elevated experience, we've got Cocoa Beach Club, which we only have a certain number of guests that can experience that a day. And if you're looking for the ultimate party, adults only, we just opened Hideaway Beach. Yes. So Hideaway Beach is also an opportunity while you're on the island.
I do think that the ability to go to these private islands and experience that is key. Travel Pro Group says Coco Cay is the best private island. I think that, cruising now, people want that experience where they want to be, they love the ship, but they like getting off the ship.
Yes.
But when they get off the ship, they want to have an experience that's similar to on the ship.
Yes.
And so they want that Royal Caribbean vibe, and they want that safety, which I think is super important, and that's what I love the most about these private islands.
Yeah, another thing to keep in mind, especially for Perfect Day, is that your drink package, if you have a beverage package, it works on Perfect Day. I think that there's more usage of it on Perfect Day than anywhere on the ship. And then also, if you have Boom, our Wi-Fi, that's also going to work on the island too.
That's pretty impressive that you can get right off the ship and go on this private island and you have Wi-Fi and you can still share with people, friends and family that are back at home, and you can say, hey, look where I am. Don't you want to be here? Something like that. That's great.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about some other accommodations that the ships have, because I know we have some amazing suites. So you have the ability to have a great balcony. But you have the ability to have a great balcony plus a bunch, actually.
Yeah. I would always, someone had mentioned that they were new, and a piece of advice I would provide to them, as well as anybody else that's been working as a travel partner or anyone that's planning on cruising with us, is always take a look at the suites. The pricing isn't necessarily a massive difference, and also there's a lot of additional add-ons often with the suites. But it's an elevated experience. Most people think that, I have a balcony, so everybody has a balcony.
Yeah.
Or I have an interior, so everyone has an interior.
We have a great picture of
Good.
one
Let's
of
look
the
at a couple of them. Yeah.
And I want to talk about these because I do think that people forget. I mean, okay. So the Crown Loft.
Who would think that this was on a ship?
No, that's the thing. Is I think the people, and I know that we're harping on this, but the people who have never cruised before, they may think, I'm just going to be in an inside cabin with a porthole, and that's what cruising is. But no, this is a lot different. This is a 2-story loft on the ship.
And we have a variety of different lofts, depending on the different ships that you're on.
Wow.
And that's just one of many. We have a couple of other ones that this
Look
is
at
another loft, and this is on Icon. It actually has a the closet on these also are bigger than my closet at home. And I have a huge closet. But you've got all of those elevated amenities that go along with it.
That's fantastic. There was one that I want to see and I want to talk about. Wow. Okay. Well, this one is beyond.
So,
where's this at?
This is on Symphony and Wonder and Utopia.
Okay.
This is the ultimate family suite, 2 stories. its own slide because who
What is going
needs
on
to take the
here?
stairs
Yeah.
down? You definitely want to do that. But also, there's like a gaming room. There is a
Really?
movie room. You also have your own Royal Genie, which is not like a concierge or a butler. It is a person who has invested into what's going to make your experience the best. This is amazing. This can have up to 10 guests. But
Wow.
we always have to take it up a notch.
Okay.
So when Icon came out, we have the Ultimate Family
Oh
Townhome.
my gosh.
And it's
Look at
three stories.
Three
Has
stories.
its own little white picket fence and its own mailbox that opens up to Surfside neighborhood on Icon. So it's, again, unreal.
This is
Totally
unreal.
unreal. And for people that think about, oh my gosh, I could never afford that. Some people can't, and you can have a great experience with us if you're in an interior all the way up to the Ultimate Family Townhome. But also the number of people that can actually sail in those suites. And here's a little side tip on that. If it's during a time that we offer kids sail free,
Okay.
fine. You have 2 adults. And if the other ones are kids, all of them are sailing free with the exception of their taxes and gratuities.
Wow.
So that suite experience might be closer than most people think.
That sweet.
Yes.
That has to be the biggest, best on the ocean I've ever seen.
Yes, it is unbelievable.
There's another one I want to see because the balcony, Robin and I were talking about it earlier. There's a balcony where you can sit and enjoy a dinner on board.
Oh, I don't know. So that is the 4-bedroom villa.
Yes.
Yes, and that is my favorite one. It is not 2 stories. It actually has 4 bedrooms.
Oh, okay.
And out on the deck, there is dining for 12 people.
Dining
It's
for
a
12 people.
beautiful,
That's
yes,
pretty incredible.
table, but it's a great way to pull in a lot of different couples if you want it to, or
that's a good idea.
family members.
That's a good, okay,
all in a villa.
that's a good point. So the difference, let's look at the differences between the big family
Yes,
townhouses, and then something like that where the rooms are separate
Yes.
and you can do, like you said, some couples in there.
Yes,
That's really smart.
Yeah, and again, with all of our suites, just like all of our other staterooms, guest 1 and 2 have a price, and then guests 3 and beyond have a lot lower price. So although you're getting into a accommodation that may have you can accommodate a lot more people, the pricing is not a whole lot more when you really break it down per guest.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so the suites, the rooms on board.
Go
incredible.
for it.
Go for it. Go for it. But there's a lot of things for kids that we want to hit. Well, actually, let's get into the theater stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things for kids on board, and we talked about that earlier. But there's a lot of different things for kids, which I like.
Yeah.
So the Adventure Ocean Theater.
Yes, so Adventure Ocean is our program that's for kids. It's not like here's daycare.
Right.
It's like the cool kids camp,
Yes.
that everybody wants to go to. And it's broken into different age groups, and it has a lot of activities from, we have a science lab on board. We also have...
I think we have a picture of the science lab.
There might be, yeah. Science lab. There's also a lot of sports activities that they can participate in. But we also they have their own theater that you saw.
There's the
just a second
science
ago.
lab.
Yes. The science lab, imagine that. We also have a area that's just arts and crafts. Let them get as messy as they want. They're working with. But we're also very proud of the staff that we have because we do require a high level of education. They need to have a degree that's either in something like childhood education, sports medicine, or something that is going to relate to
where they can help out
kids.
if something happens.
Yes, yeah.
They
to
don't
lead them. They're not just.
You don't need them running to
babysit.
You don't need them running to somebody else to get help. They need to be able to help. That is really nice.
Which is good.
And I know that there is accommodations for people with all kinds of disabilities, with autism, things like that. I know we have.
Probably the thing I'm most proud about with working with Royal, there's a lot of families that has someone that may be somewhere along the autism spectrum. And the thought of having them go out in the middle of the ocean and not knowing what may trigger something for them, but also oftentimes vacationing or activities are very centered around that child. So the other children may not always have a chance to experience other things, or the parents may not have a chance to do things separately. Our autism friendly environment is amazing. We actually have like toy lending program, which would allow you, when you come on board, based on abilities, you can get toys that you keep in your stateroom the entire time.
That's great.
We also, you saw the picture of the theater before. We do autism-friendly movies. And what we do is make sure in those movies, the lights aren't as dim. The sound isn't as loud. You can get up and move around. We also do storyboards in advance, which kind of allows the child to know what to expect. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to check in. This is where we're going to eat. All of those different elements, so that there isn't a big surprise.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think could be jarring for anyone, whether you are autistic or not, is the sound of our emergency horn.
Oh, of course.
And that's played at the beginning of every cruise.
Yep.
And that's something I say, replay it over and over in the app. Let them hear it over and over, so it becomes their thing to look forward to, and they're expecting it. I mean, it's jarring every time I hear it. So just, again, making that experience very well easy and transitional for everybody. But also, it's not just the kids. You know, we want to make sure anyone that comes on board with us has an amazing experience. If they have any special challenges that maybe we can help out with, let us do that. You know, always work with our access team. We have a team that's over 45 people strong, and that's all they do. Most people think it's about mobility and being able to get around in a wheelchair or a scooter or all of that, but whether it's hearing related, visual, it could even be size related. You know, if there is someone that's of a larger stature, let us know. We don't want them to show up at the dining room and have a chair that has arms in it.
Yeah. And
then that's a personal struggle for them. Instead, we want to make that a seamless sort of activity for them.
And you know, before we got on today, we were talking about the unique experiences that people get on board of Royal, and those are, I mean, above and beyond really what is expected, especially in the past. And I think that's what I love about Royal, is that innovation and that saying that we are going to be better, we're always going to advance, we're always going to have this and that, and those accommodations are huge.
Yes.
Huge. Oh, yeah. So Robin, I want to talk a little bit about the 2 new upcoming Icon class ships. I mean, look, you know that you can't say
love it.
Okay, because how big was Icon? I mean, how big was the launch of Icon?
The launch of Icon was world-breaking, record-breaking for the entire industry.
Yes.
For Royal, and we had a lot of like when our Oasis class came out.
Yeah.
But when Icon came out, it broke every record that we had. It was the world's biggest day of bookings ever.
Oh, that's...
But also, it's a brand that people just, you know, it became very iconic.
Yes,
literally
iconic.
Literally. And what we've done is, so Icon coming out was only the start of a new class of ships. You might remember I talked about 7 classes. Well, Icon was the first of a whole Icon class of ships. So we have coming out this summer in August, we have Star of the Seas, which will be Icon 2.
Yes, it's funny. Robin said in another day we were talking, she says, refer to it as Icon 2.
Yes.
People will get it.
Yes, everyone knows all the hype around Icon, and that is on so many people's wish lists. So when you just say Star of the Seas, they're not thinking Icon. Always, it's Icon 2. It just happens to be named Star, but it's so imagine everything we have on Icon, and then we're up in the game on there. We've got a few surprises that'll come out for you. But we also just launched our 3rd Icon ship, Icon 3, which is the Legend, which you're going to see in 2026. So keep your eyes open, because we always have new things coming out.
What do you think is going to be the hottest thing for 2026?
I think it's a mix of combining, again, cool destinations and some unique itineraries. If people ever get a chance to do any trans-Pacific, transatlantics, or repositioning cruises or the canal cruises, What I noticed of everything that we put out is also our repositionings are not always these 14 and 18 and 23 day long journeys. Those are wonderful. But there's some that are just 6 nights or 9 nights that may be repositioning with Alaska to Hawaii, or doing Hawaii and Fiji and some of those areas. So I think that's going to be big. LA,
yes,
the whole West Coast. A lot of noise going on over there.
It's like sometimes the West Coast gets a little bit forgotten about. You know, you can go to Seattle or Vancouver to go to Alaska, sure, but Los Angeles, Port Los Angeles, that's pretty big.
So one of our ladies is going to be pretty busy. Ovation of the Seas.
Yes.
She is heading to LA right now. Navigator, your first ship.
That's my first.
Your first ship, period.
Yes.
But she's been holding down the fort in LA by herself for the last couple of years. Ovation is going to make her way there, and she'll be there in June. But Ovation in 2026 is also then going to go to Alaska and be our ship specifically for cruise tours.
Yes.
So for the cruise tours, you are either sailing north to south, or you're going south to north, and then you add a land package onto that so that you can get deeper into
let's
that
real
land
quick.
part.
We have some time, so let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Alaska is, like we talked about earlier, that destination. Sometimes, and Velma says this a lot, those bucket list destinations that people, I have to go there. At some point in my life, I have to go there. So just going there and seeing it is wonderful. But what if I want to experience more of Alaska?
I think what you want to think about, if you are making the trek to Alaska, you might as well make sure that you're seeing more than just some of the coastal regions that the cruise is going to take you on. The cruise tours allow you to go deeper into the land portion. You're going to use motor coaches, beautiful ones. Also, the Wilderness Express rail, which has the open domed, top open view domed. Also, you have a chance to go into Denali.
Yes.
You know, and see the wildlife there, and also to do more of the experiences like the dog sledding, which is my favorite. I have pictures of me with the little puppies. We wanted to take one with me. They wouldn't allow me.
Oh, they wouldn't allow you.
But to get deeper into those areas, it would be like saying, okay, I'm going to the U.S., but I'm just going on this little area right here.
I'm just going to see the Keys and that's it. I'm not even going to go anywhere else.
Yeah. So it provides that experience.
I think that that's wonderful. And I think that if you are out there and you're like, I definitely need to go to Alaska.
Yes.
Seeing just the towns and the cities there are great, but getting that interior experience of Alaska, because people forget that it is still the wilderness up there.
Yes,
it is not like here in Atlanta, anything like that. It is the wilderness.
Yeah, and I think, when you're going on the cruise, which is amazing.
Right.
But you're not spending the night there. You're not having late night dinners there. You're not seeing what the locals are doing there.
Right.
So what we do, which is a little bit unique from some of the other cruise lines, their cruise tours, is that we actually make sure that you're staying in the best possible property that's in the area of where all the locals are, where everything is happening, so that you are very close and able to just walk, to a great dinner or to a bar or to a show or to a museum, or a 5-minute transfer.
I mean,
versus a very long transfer.
Right. Instead of saying, "Oh, I have to drive to this different place," that is fantastic. I think that the ability to go to Alaska and see and experience all those things, stay in the lodges, that's something that not a lot of people get to do. But when you do get to do it, you never forget that.
Absolutely.
Robin, we talked about a lot of fantastic things today, a lot of different things, the ships, the experiences on the ships, the dining, everything involved. What is one thing that you would say to people that maybe are new to Royal? What's one thing you want them to remember about Royal?
That above all, we're about making a memorable, wonderful experience. We just happen to have ships and destinations, but we really, in our heart, want to just provide people the opportunity to expand their horizon. understand that there's something for everyone to do.
Yeah.
It's not just here's one pigeonholed sort of opportunity. Get unrivaled service and food.
Yep.
And again, have a chance to be a part of the memories people are creating, whether it is a birthday cruise or it's a wedding or it is, a reunion or it is a company outing or a getaway or a training environment. We just want to be the backdrop of that.
I love
and
that.
make it memorable.
I love that. Do you think there will ever be a bigger ship than the Icon?
Oh, I doubt it. We all said there would never be a ship bigger than Symphony.
Wow.
And then Wonder came knocking at the door. Then Utopia came knocking at the door, and Icon came knocking at the door. So I don't know. They don't let me in that innovation lab,
you would have too many good ideas there. Well, Robin, thank you so much for joining us live here today, and thank you so much for talking about Royal Caribbean because, I mean, it is such an important player in the cruise game, and it's such a big player in the cruise game, and I'm so glad that you were able to enlighten us on everything Royal.
I love it. My excitement is not made up.
No,
I love
it
Royal
certainly
Caribbean.
is not. Trust me on that one.
And I love when people can experience what we have to offer, too.
Yes. Well, everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel here, and don't forget to click that bell icon. But everybody, thank you for joining us for this Partner Spotlight. Thank you, Robin, and we will see you all next time.
Thanks.
Bye.